Hello and welcome to our show. My name is Kylie Lessard. I'm a product marketer here at LinkedIn, focused on all things LinkedIn pages, including LinkedIn events. I am so excited to be talking to you today, and I'm so grateful that you took time out of your busy day to join us live. We have a packed agenda for you today. We're going to be talking about all things LinkedIn events, starting with a couple of really exciting product updates to our experience. We're going to show you what that looks like in product, bringing in a product expert from in-house to walk you through what it looks like via a demo. Then we'll be bringing on a full panel of early users of LinkedIn events to learn best practices from their experience. And finally, at the end of our show, we'll be spending a good amount of time answering your questions. So please don't be shy about adding those questions to the comments at any point throughout our conversation. We have moderators who are standing by to answer your questions on the fly. They're also feeding them to me so that we can answer some of the most commonly asked questions in real time. So with that, I would love to bring on our special guests to the stage. Let's meet the guests. Okay, as they're filing in, we've got Chetan Kulkarni. He is a group product manager here at LinkedIn. He's been so closely involved with all of the updates that we're going to share with you today. He is really our in-house product expert. We're so grateful to have him. Next up, we've got Kelsey Grippenstraw. She is the audience engagement editor at Harvard Business Review. We've been so excited by how many events Harvard Business Review has been creating on our platform and the incredible attendance they've been able to get with those events. So we're super excited to talk to Kelsey about that. And finally, we have Emily Viviani. She is the brand and social manager at the Center for Creative Leadership. The Center for Creative Leadership has done already a number of events, but we're super jazzed on this one that they did. It was a day-long virtual conference. They went live into their event multiple times and just saw phenomenal results with it. So we're so excited to have you, Emily. And by way of introducing the guests and helping you guys get to know them a little bit better, we like to do this thing at LinkedIn where we say one thing that's not on our LinkedIn profile. So I'm going to ask this of each of our guests, as well as, can you please share with us where you are streaming in from today? And maybe I can start with Chetan.
Sure. Hi, everyone. My name is Chetan. I am a product manager at LinkedIn. I'm streaming in from San Francisco Bay Area. And one of the things that is not on my LinkedIn profile is the fact that I have had a chance to say hello and thank you to customers in their languages across 12 different languages.
I'm going to regret having you go first because that is way too cool of a fun fact. Okay, Kelsey, can you follow that? Let's see.
I don't think so, but hi, my name is Kelsey Grippenstraw. I'm the audience engagement editor at Harvard Business Review. We are a magazine and publisher, and we publish content that helps people do their jobs better and companies do their work better. We've expanded our presence on LinkedIn over the past year or so, and it has helped us reach 10 million unique visitors on our website each month. But we've also expanded our LinkedIn event presence. It's helped us publicize our LinkedIn Live series. So I'm excited to talk about that today. But something that's not on my LinkedIn profile is that I have a very lovely but disagreeable dog named Olivia, and she may make an appearance, but I hope she stays quiet.
And I'm hoping for the appearance. Thank you. Thanks for that intro, Kelsey. Okay, over to you, Emily. Fun fact and where you're dialing in from.
Definitely. Thank you so much, Kylie. As you said, I am the brand and social manager at the Center for Creative Leadership. We're a nonprofit specializing in leadership development that's based in North Carolina. I myself am actually streaming in from the Washington, D.C. area. I always work remotely, so I always say it's funny. I feel like I actually see my colleagues more in the COVID era because everyone is on video so much more now. But LinkedIn events and LinkedIn Live has been huge for our marketing and social strategy in the last year as we're trying to get our great people at CCL in front of as many people as we can. So really excited to talk about some of the experiments that we've been doing. One thing that is not on my LinkedIn profile is that I am a huge fan of the show Gilmore Girls. So if any of the viewers out there want to slide some Gilmore Girls trivia questions into the questions later, I have probably watched the entire series more than 10 times. I'm addicted.
Okay, so now I know where to direct the trivia question.
Yeah, should anyone.
Wonderful. Okay, we'll honor that. We'll honor that offer from Emily. Okay, so I'll round us out. I am streaming into you guys today from Honolulu, Hawaii, where I have made a temporary relocation throughout the pandemic. And I've been debating what is my most fun fact to share when asked this question. I think I've landed on the fact that in elementary school, I was part of a unicycling program. So I not only own a unicycle, but know how to ride it, or did know how to ride it at one point in my life. So that's the fun fact I'm going with. So it's not all about us on this show. We would love to hear from you guys. If you haven't had a chance already, to drop into the comments of the live stream where you're dialing in from and a fun fact that's not on your LinkedIn profile. We'd love to hear more about you. You're part of our community, and we just love getting to know you better. So don't be shy. Don't be shy to network. It's still totally possible in the virtual events era. And while we're doing that, I want to jump into our topics and our updates today. So like I said, we're talking about all things LinkedIn events. And this is something that is so near and dear to my heart. It's been a huge part of my 2020, because back in May, we launched our first virtual events solution here at LinkedIn. We did it to help communities stay connected to their communities safely and in real time, in a time that organizations and their communities just really needed it. And since then, it has become more and more important to stay connected to these communities, as we well know. But the fact is, we still have a ways to go. And we've been spending a lot of time talking to our customers, listening to our customers about what they need more from us in order to be successful with LinkedIn events. So you guys asked, we listened. Today's updates are some of the most top requested features from over 100 conversations with early users of LinkedIn events. And I'll chat through some of those right now. So the first update, this one is huge, is the ability to add free registration forms to your LinkedIn events to capture the names and email addresses of your registrants. You own that data, you're able to download it from your event page at any time. This is huge for organizations who are using their events, their virtual events, to drive meaningful lead capture. In addition, we rolled out more organic discovery features that are helping you very easily build the right professional audience for your LinkedIn event without doing really a whole lot of additional work. We've rolled out personalized dynamic recommendations for members on our platform so they can hopefully discover your event on their own. And we've rolled out the ability to notify your page followers, a relevant subset. We'll do this on your behalf rather than you having to target and predict who is going to be the most relevant people to attend your event. We'll send those notifications on your behalf. So really exciting, powerful triggers going on in the back end to help you get the right audience. In addition, we rolled out the ability for you to promote your events with ads and get event-specific reporting on those campaigns that you run. So really helping you effectively scale your attendance and your engagement on your events, especially outside of your known network. And finally, we've given you guys the ability to seamlessly retarget your event attendees using a post-event nurture campaign. So it allows you to really continue the conversation with your event attendees well after the event. And something we're super excited about here is just like the combination of organic and paid updates that we've rolled out here. We really think of these organic updates as a way to build a solid foundation for your event strategy on LinkedIn, and these paid options as a way to really scale the effectiveness of that strategy. And I know for myself, it's always pretty hard to conceptualize really the power and the usage of a given feature until I can see it with my own two eyes. So we've prepared a quick video for you guys to hopefully help bring this home. Let's go ahead and play the video. All right, I hope that helped. That was just the warm up, because now I'm going to bring Chetan back on the stage to do that in-product demo that I was just talking to you about. So Chetan, I'm going to pass the baton to you.
Thank you, Kylie. That was a great introduction. So 200,000 events and 10 million attendees. That's what LinkedIn's event platform has seen just in its first 7 months of existence. What I wanted to walk you through today is why through this demo. So this is my LinkedIn homepage, and let's just assume the first key requirement here is that you need to be the admin of the page. Here are the pages of which I'm an admin of. Let's use the LinkedIn demo account to be able to demonstrate the feature. So once you get into your page as an admin, this is the layout you're likely to see. Let's get into the events tab over here. So we will be dividing this demo into 2 parts. Part 1, we will look at the creation and the organic distribution of events. And in part 2, we would be looking at promoting the event on LinkedIn. So part 1, let's jump in right away. I would want to walk you through 5 specific tips over here that can help you use this platform more effectively as I create this particular event on the platform. So the first step over here is simple yet very powerful, and that is the background image for your event that can very powerfully convey what the event is about. And 2 is the way you actually give the title for the event. So the event name in this case is, let's just say, B2B marketing on LinkedIn. So this not only helps the members to recognize what the event is about, but some of the keywords here do get used at the back end to be able to recommend the right event to the right user at the right point in time. The second part over here, where I would want to draw your attention to, is whether the event is online, which is held virtually, or if it is an offline event held physically. And let's just go ahead with the online event over here for the time being. The third part is the broadcast link. So as you know, the broadcast link is where the event would ultimately be hosted. This can actually be done either on the LinkedIn Live, or this can be done on a third-party streaming platform as well. We prefer our customers to use LinkedIn Live because there are multiple synergies that wherein LinkedIn Live leverages the platform in a very meaningful manner. So we can leave that blank and continue moving ahead with creating the event. So the start time is something that you may want to set. Let's just say it is 2:30 p.m. The descriptions would follow. I'll just sort of reuse the event name over here and complete the description for the time being. But let's pause at the next key feature over here, which is about adding the speakers. Since LinkedIn as a platform is built on this vast social community, all the speakers that you're likely to have would fairly likely exist in this community, right? So for example, if I were to have somebody like Erin Sumpman from my team as a speaker for this event that I'm trying to create, yeah, I can readily add over here and recognize who the person is within the LinkedIn community. Now, this has 2 benefits. Number 1, Erin gets notified that, yeah, she is a speaker. She starts getting associated with this event. But then Erin's connections also get notified about the fact that Erin is speaking at this event. So there you go. The power of organic distribution starts right here and now. Continuing with the rest of the next steps. So ticketing, if you want to get the event with a ticket, you can certainly do that. But let me take a pause at the next step here, which is about the event visibility, right? So you can create 2 different types of events on LinkedIn. The first is the public event. The public event is where it is visible to everyone, or it can be a private event where it is not. Let's assume it's a public event for the time being. Now, one of the powerful features that Kylie alluded to is the ability to gate an event with a registration form. We have made it really simple for you. All you need to do is check this checkbox out here and then add your privacy policy link, right? Now, what this does is this essentially creates a gate for the event, wherein anybody registering for the event actually has to submit the name and email address as a part of the registration. I can show you a quick example from a real event out here. So this is an event that exists, and just to understand what the member or the registrant behavior or experience is, this is what they would likely see just by the virtue of the fact that you had created that checkbox. So anybody who's submitting the lead needs to click or here, and then they end up submitting the lead. But let's go back and continue with the flow. So we have this registration box checked. We have the privacy policy added. Now we are sort of all set to go ahead and create the event. So I've created this event. It is essentially sort of getting created, and then at the back end it is done. Now, then comes the part around some of the other organic distribution avenues that are available to event organizers. The first thing that you would want to do is actually post this event on your event page. So the event has essentially been posted now. This is how the event looks for the event admin. There are a couple of other features that I would want to draw your attention to, which would make the whole organic distribution really, really powerful. The first bit is the ability to invite your connections to the event, right? So I can essentially select a lot of folks from my list of connections to be able to join the event, right? I can sort of invite multiple people from here. One of the tips that we have seen some of the pages do is to be actually able to add their own admins and invite other admins of the same page to the event, which starts creating the snowball effect of more and more people being able to see the event actually in their various organic distribution means, right? So for the sake of just this demo, let me sort of just add Kylie and invite Kylie to the event. The third part in terms of organic distribution, apart from posting the event and inviting the connections, is actually to start engaging your attendees. And that's what this part is about over here, right? So for example, one of the very powerful mechanisms here is to be able to run a poll for people who have shown an interest in attending your event, right? So the question can be, which ads work for B2B, right? And you can say an image ad or a video ad. And then, yeah, you at a click of a button, you're done, essentially posting it. This is how your post would look. And this would be seen by all the attendees who have shown an interest in attending the event. So now you're not only inviting through organic means, you're creating virality, and you're creating continued engagement through this particular tool, right? And just to sort of round out the creation and the organic distribution piece, one of the very powerful mechanisms of organic distribution is in this section wherein LinkedIn recommends events to different members, right? And this is based on their profile, their past event attendance history, some of the interests that they have demonstrated, and so on. And these are sort of a set of events that essentially appear in the connections section of all the members, right? So I will sort of go back to the event over here, take a pause here, and then ask Kylie if she wants to add anything to the organic event creation and distribution pieces.
Yeah, thank you for asking me. I mean, you've done such an awesome job covering it already. But as you were talking, I was taking down a couple of notes of things that I often get asked about this sort of organic setup experience. And there were a few things that I did want to touch on. So Chetan mentioned a speaker profile section as part of the event setup. I can't emphasize enough how powerful of a feature this is, the ability to add in your speakers to your actual event details. Why this is powerful, Chetan already kind of touched on. Once a speaker has accepted your request to speak at an event, the event is going to eventually render on their profile, and we are going to send notifications out to that speaker's connections, letting them know that they're speaking at an event. So that's another form of organic discovery that you can capitalize on. In addition, when a potential attendee hits your event page and they see this lineup of impressive speakers, they're able to quickly click into those profiles, go understand their professional background, why should they as the potential attendee care, and why should they be incentivized to attend that event. So that's a really powerful feature that we're so excited to have ramping right now. So that's one of my favorite features. My second favorite feature on the event page itself is called Recommend a Post. And so this is a super effective lever for once you've built something of a sizable audience. Let's say you've got a couple hundred people, couple dozen people on your event, depending on the size that you're going for. You can start recommending posts to your attendees 2 times per week, and that's across all your admins. I mean, I would reserve this for your most important posts. So say you run a poll. We did this on our event page, so maybe you saw this if you were an attendee at the time that we sent the notification. We conducted a poll asking you guys what were you most excited for us to kind of spend time on in this conversation? And the clear winner was just product tips and tricks. So that's what I'm sharing with you now. A huge key product tip and trick is to leverage that recommend a post button. Make sure you're posting to the feed and recommending 2 posts per week to drive additional engagement and visibility back to your event page. And then finally, Chetan went through those 3 nudges. That's what we call that little section of like 3 things that you can do, right, when you create your event. By completing those 3 steps, you make your event much more eligible for organic discovery on our platform, along with a clear and concise title and a detailed description. So keep all that in mind when you're creating your event and getting started with the promotion. Now back to Chetan for the sort of paid promotion side of things.
Perfect. Thanks, Kylie. Let's jump in. Now that you have created the event, right, and it is getting organic traction, the other thing that you may want to do is to be able to promote this event using all the offerings that LinkedIn has. In fact, we have developed a set of specific capabilities that can help you promote your event much more powerfully than what you could have done before. Let's jump into it straight away. So as somebody who is familiar with Campaign Manager, this is sort of, as a page admin, these are the set of accounts that I have. As you know, LinkedIn demo account is where I essentially created the particular event. So I will get into this account, which is associated with that particular page, right? And this thing is loading now. So this is where you will start seeing some of the previous campaigns that I may have created under this particular account. So, right? So the thing you would want to do is start creating the campaign, right? And as this thing is loading, what you would go through is a set of steps to be able to associate a campaign with that particular event. Let's figure out how. So the first step you would need to take out here is set the objective, right? When it comes to promoting events, we have identified 3 different objectives that are available at this point in time to be able to promote your event, which are, the first one is brand awareness, the second one is website visits, and the third one is engagement. Let me select brand awareness as an option out here. Continuing with the rest of the campaign creation flow, one of the other powerful features is to be able to associate audience where you can promote this event to. So the audience can be from outside through a list upload or a lookalike, or these can be based on LinkedIn audience attributes. So these may be chief financial officers, chief marketing officers, or DevOps folks. So depending on whoever you want to select, all the targeting options are available to be able to promote the event. Continuing with the rest of the flow, the next key decision that you would need to make is the ad format. So one key thing or here to call out is the fact that you can select any of the ad formats in here, but the single image ad format has been associated at the back end with the downstream ability to actually measure registrations that come out of this particular campaign spend. And I'll show how does it get measured in a bit. So for the sake of ensuring that we are able to measure the impact of this campaign, I will select the single image over here, right? Continuing with the rest of the pieces, which continue to remain the same. So there is placement, there is budget and schedule, there is bidding, and there's conversion tracking. So let me sort of wrap up this stage and move over to the second phase, right, wherein you're actually creating the ad for this event. In order to do that, let me click on Create New Ad, right, and start sort of filling in some of the details, right? So let's just say this is B2B marketing on social media. I can use the same text to describe it. But let me pause over here around the destination URL and talk about something specific that has been built for events. right? So one of the sort of quick things you could do is you could take your event URL and you could paste that as the destination URL over here. Now at the back end, once you say scrape, LinkedIn's ad system goes through all the events that you've created, and voila, you essentially have this event that you've created now being available in the ad promotion system. So here you're able to preview how does it look from on a desktop and also on a mobile, right? But what you've essentially done now is to be able to connect your event promotion with your organic event presence through this simple mechanism, right? So just continuing with the rest of the creation, we have completed the creation of the ad, and now the campaign essentially has started running at the back end, right? Once after you launch it. Now, once you've launched it, you've run it for a while, there is a very powerful feature that I wanted to draw your attention to. So of course, this is all sort of demo and test, so you don't see any numbers here. But one of the tangible benefits of running the campaign that you can actually measure is the event registrations that that particular campaign has been able to deliver, right? So the 3 metrics that we specifically track as a part of this are event registrations, which is about the total event registrations that were driven, a click-driven registration, so when somebody saw a single image ad and on LinkedIn and clicked and then went ahead after clicking on the ad. And the other bit over here is view event registrations, which is essentially somebody saw an impression of the ad, did not click, but then ended up registering after being influenced by that ad, right? So we essentially provide 3 different metrics for you to be able to measure the effectiveness and the efficiency of your campaigns. The other thing I would want to draw your attention to here is the powerful thing that starts happening at the back end through the audiences, right? So as you start building and running organic and paid campaigns to be able to drive registrations and RSVPs for your event, at the back end, what starts happening is the audience pool starts building up. So for example, over here, you see a bunch of events that have been run and the number of people who have RSVP'd. Of course, this data is dummy, so you see small numbers here. But then now the pool is available for you to be able to pick. For example, let's just say I'm picking the audiences from the first 3 campaigns that were run. Let's just say I call it the testing campaign. And now I'm able to create this segment, right, on LinkedIn to be able to get it ready for a future campaign that I may want to run. So I may use this audience to be able to promote other similar events that I may run in the future, or I may take it more downstream and start talking about other products and services that my particular company offers, right? So you are able to create the campaign, start running and measure registrations, and you're also able to build audience pools for your paid campaign. So 2 very powerful things coming from there. Now, just to bring it back home, now this is the event. As a result of both the organic distribution and the paid campaigns, you would start seeing a lot of sort of registrations that begin to happen. One of the things you could do here is actually to be able to download those registrations, push them into your CRM, and start the CRM marketing cadence, right? Now, how does success look like? So we have Kelsey here from HBR. So we had this fantastic event which saw about 20,000 live views, hosted by Dr. Anthony Fauci on HBR. And we had about 4,000 contributions, so it was a phenomenal out-and-out success, right? So that's how success looks like. With that, let me turn it back over to Kylie.
Thank you, Chetan. That was so helpful, and it was. I think you make it clear that it's really so just simple to set up an event, even to promote your event on Campaign Manager, which can be kind of scary if you've never been in Campaign Manager before. But just wanted to emphasize, like, it really is so simple. So really appreciate you walking us through that. I see we are getting a ton of comments in response to this demo. I'm going to quickly flash those in just a moment. But I did want to take a moment to first shout out some of our amazing viewers who have very cool, fun facts. So one we saw, Bill from Scotch Plains, New Jersey. His cousin is Queen Latifah. And now we would like to maybe request that Bill set us up with Queen Latifah so she can be part of our next virtual event. Bill, reach out. We have Sarah, who's coming in from England. She played underwater hockey for England's ladies team, which is incredible. And I hope you're using LinkedIn virtual events to get the team back together. Keep that community going. That's an awesome community. And finally, we have Martin from Eugene, Oregon. He used to be a TV dancer, which I don't know if I know exactly what that means, but I was myself a dancer at one point and would have loved if I was good enough to make it on TV. So bravo to you, Martin. Thank you guys so much for participating in that little just get to know you in the chat. We love learning more about you. Like I said, you're all part of our community. Before we get into our panel conversation, I did want to just quickly address a couple of the top questions we're seeing coming through. Some of them are like basic housekeeping that we can address straight away so you have better context for the conversation to come. So Oladell asks, will there be a video recording for this event later? Yes, absolutely. It's going to be on the event feed. It'll be in a post on the event feed. Unfortunately, you won't be able to share it outside of the event feed unless someone else has attended the event. But what we will try to do is make sure this is available either on a landing page or on YouTube shortly after this show so that you can share it around to your community. Mark and a lot of other people are asking, are all of these features just for pages, or can an individual create an event and use the same features? There is very little difference between the ability to use events as an individual on LinkedIn as a page. So the short answer is yes, an individual can create an event and use most of these features. Chetan, can I bring you on to ask quickly, are registration forms available to members?
No, they are not. So probably that's one of the few features that is not available to members, but a vast majority of them are.
Right, and same with obviously our advertising options. You do need to have a page in order to create advertising campaigns on our platform. That's correct?
That is correct. So that is true for any advertising campaign on LinkedIn.
Cool, appreciate that clarification. So yeah, to set the stage, almost all the organic features we're talking about are going to apply to you as an individual or if you are part of an organization. And then, oh, sorry, can I bring Chetan back on one more time? Mariana and others from various countries who are tuning in from around the world are wondering, are these features available in all countries?
Yes, so some of the features like registration forms are being rolled out in phases for multiple languages, but the core event creation and distribution experience is available for all the languages and all the countries.
Perfect. Okay, thank you. I think those, I'm gonna pause us on the audience questions so we can make sure we have plenty of time for our panel. I would love to bring on Emily and Kelsey now as well so that we can kick off our conversation about best practices learned in terms of early usage of LinkedIn events. So thanks again, ladies, for being here, and Chetan as well. My first question that I wanted to get into with you guys is around the idea of driving registration and attendance for virtual events. Obviously, whether it's a virtual or in-person event, this is always the key goal, is getting the right people and enough of them in the room. So maybe Kelsey, I can throw this question to you. What has been the most successful tactics for you for driving registration on your LinkedIn events?
Yeah, for us, it's a combination of different marketing tactics. We definitely do social media marketing around every single event that we do, including shares on our LinkedIn page, of course. But we also have employed some email marketing and marketing on our website. And I'd say those two things, for us, were more successful than the actual social in terms of driving attendees to our events. And then I think it's just putting on events that will resonate with your audience, like choosing the right topics and things like that, because I have no doubt that even though we employed these marketing tactics, there was some organic spread going on, people sharing the event with their networks.
Yeah, makes perfect sense. How about you, Emily? What are you guys doing at Center for Creative Leadership to drive attendance?
Yeah, similar to Kelsey, it's definitely a combination of things. We obviously promote the event on our LinkedIn company page. And for the virtual conference that you mentioned earlier, Kylie, what was really successful for us was we actually put together a packet of virtual conference resources for people and created a landing page on our own website. So we were able to kind of tease out the different resources in the weeks leading up to the event. We also posted a quick video just introducing ourselves as the moderators for the event and asked our audience what snack they'd bring to tune in, just to set the tone that this was meant to be a conversational and interactive event. And we saw some great engagement there. So yeah, I mean, as Kelsey also mentioned, just understanding what topics are going to resonate, looking at the content that you're sharing on social that seems to be getting the most engagement, and then building that out into a larger conversation that can be an event has really worked well for us.
The story about the video you guys did to introduce yourselves as hosts and like share what snacks are bringing, it's one of my favorite little tactics I've heard about in the virtual world, because it just brings such like warmth and humanity to the virtual space that I think oftentimes we feel it's lacking.
For sure.
And it goes in perfectly to this next question I had for you guys, which is just like, in the era of Zoom fatigue and virtual event fatigue, like how do you think you're getting your events to stand out and getting people excited to show up and engage? And maybe, Emily, why don't we keep running with you, since I think you're onto some cool stuff there.
Definitely, yeah. Again, bringing up that virtual conference we did, I think one thing that people appreciated was the kind of variety in the different sessions that we were hosting. It was basically a full day conference that was 7 different conversations that we were streaming from the same event page. So the tone and format of those conversations varied from our CEO giving kind of the opening and closing remarks at the beginning and end of the day, to there was actually a kind of embarrassing session that I was coached live by one of our executive coaches on the stress of COVID and how I was coping with it. And then we had a really interactive session that was actually our most viewed session, where we had some of our faculty encourage the viewers to take a self-assessment, and then they went through those results in real time with people. So I really think that having a variety of different ways that you're trying to engage, and that ranging from really traditional kind of PowerPoint style conversation to then the more vulnerable human conversation has worked really well for CCL.
I'm loving the words vulnerability, that coaching session for you, and the interactivity of the survey and the giving the response back. Those worked so well in so many areas of virtual, marketing, but especially in this events use case. Love it. Right. Anything to add there, Kelsey?
Oh yeah, I'd say that we haven't done anything as ambitious as a full day conference. So I'm here, as I hear about that, I'm in awe of what CCL is doing. I would say for us, it's really that like picking the topic relevance. We work really hard to choose our speakers and topics for our LinkedIn Live show based on what's going on in the world. Like right when the George Floyd protests erupted, we knew we had to scrap the show we had planned, just because it wasn't what people wanted to hear about at the moment. And we invited a professor named Laura Morgan Roberts, whose work focuses on diversity in organizations. And she offered a lot of practical ways that companies can begin to address systemic racism, like in this moment. Tons of people tuned in. It was one of our most watched and most engaging shows that we did. I think that topic relevance is the most important thing for us to drive engagement during the show. We definitely try to get our audience to share as many questions as possible, and we ask as many of them as we can during the live stream as we are currently right now. And I think having that back and forth with our audience in real time is super helpful to them.
Yeah, when you're speaking, I'm hearing like relevant topic, credible speaker. So those are just awesome takeaways for our audience.
Kylie, if I may add.
Please.
I think one of the notions around which LinkedIn events is structured is just having the power of this community. So the community of people who have shown an interest, who have said they're attending, and then being able to be in touch with them through the course of before the event, during the event, and after the event. And LinkedIn offers a bunch of tools to be able to make that happen. So that's another way of actually ensuring that you create excitement to show up, and then the post show up engagement as well.
That's such a good addition. Yeah, thank you. It's so nice to have a product expert around here telling us how we can maximize our usage of the platform. In kind of a similar vein to what we've already been talking about, and it's all very much intertwined, is, how do you seek to engage with your attendees leading up to the event, and what works really well for you guys when it comes to actually keeping that engagement up and high quality throughout? So Kelsey, I know you guys get a ton of engagement on your streams. What do you guys do to keep that lively beyond questions? Anything?
Yeah, we do try to engage the audience like on video during the event. Before the event, within our LinkedIn events, we do also try to hype people up by making a few posts every few days. We have Adi Ignatius, our editor-in-chief, who's one of the hosts of our show. He does a personal post introducing the guest who we'll be talking to that week. And then we try to get questions pre-show as well. So I think just like opening up our host directly on he's posting from his own LinkedIn page, which feels a little bit personal, which is one thing I love about doing this on LinkedIn. And giving our audience that direct outlet to talk to us, I think is something that that they really appreciate, and we also really appreciate.
That's awesome. Emily, anything to add there?
Yeah, no, I think similar to Kelsey, we definitely try and do some promotional posts in advance. And another thing that's worked well for us to kind of retain engagement is similar to what you've been doing so well, Kylie, hosting this conversation, is we really encourage our speakers to kind of ask open-ended questions throughout the conversation we're having to learn why the viewers tuning in are tuning in and what specifically they want to learn more about. So asking viewers to chime in as much as possible to ensure that we're recalibrating the conversation to best answer the questions that they have. Another thing that's been helpful for us is we often create like a really simple graphic that provides almost just a quick outline of what we're going to be talking about. And we try and share that within the first 5 to 10 minutes of the conversation to let people tuning in kind of know what to expect and screenshot the main takeaways that we're going to be going through. And we think that the audience has appreciated that. Generally people are commenting, can you pull up the graphic again? So, we pull it up again.
Those are such great ideas. Yeah, I know, like, I as an audience member always love to kind of be brought along and know what to expect. And I think I see this again and again, even with events that I host, it always behooves you to be more and more clear about how to join a virtual event, what we're going to be talking about it, what's in it for you guys. I want to take a quick moment to return to some of our viewer questions, because we have even more coming in. You guys are awesome. I don't think we're going to be able to get to all of these in the conversation, but we will do our darndest to follow up in either a blog post or stay on the chat feed for a while afterwards to try to just get to as many as we possibly can. So one of them that keeps coming up is like, hey, I didn't get a link to join today. Like, what's up with that? What should I expect that? So something that's important to know about LinkedIn events is that it can be used kind of in two ways. You can either host your entire event end-to-end on LinkedIn using LinkedIn Live, and that's really how our product is built and designed and optimized for. That's what we're doing today. So the way that works is when you set up your event, there's no sort of advanced link that you need to include in the creation form. All you have to do is make sure you are approved for LinkedIn Live, and we can talk about that in just a minute. And on the day of your event, you will just go into your streaming tool. And when you go to hit broadcast for LinkedIn Live, instead of sending that broadcast to your LinkedIn page, you will send it to the LinkedIn event. What that does is trigger a notification to all of your event attendees, a push notification if they're not currently on LinkedIn, it'll go to their mobile, or if they're on LinkedIn at that time, they'll get a notification in the top right-hand corner of their screen. They can click, anyone who is an attendee and gets that notification clicks into it, and you're now in the broadcast. So no advanced link, it's just a notification. If you miss that for some reason, your attendees can always go to your event page where the stream is rendered in a post on the page. So that's option one, and one that we'd highly recommend you use just because we've really spent a lot of time optimizing that flow, and it's a lot less friction for members to not have to go through multiple platforms. The other option is to host on a different platform. Let's say you're you've got a major conference and you've got to use a big network conference software, and you need to include a link to that in the event post. So that one is kind of a more clear path. It's what we're used to. It's like you have an advanced link and you know where you've got to go through that link at the time of the event to join. So hopefully that clarifies a little bit. We also have a question from Martin that I'm seeing here, and we get this question a lot, so I want to address it. Martin says, I've been trying to go live on LinkedIn for quite some time, and I've applied several times, but just have never got a response. So I don't know why I haven't been accepted, and I don't get how I can use this feature if I'm not allowed to go live. So it's true that we do require an application process and approvals for LinkedIn Live, mostly because we are very concerned with protecting our member experience and maintaining member trust on our platform. So we want to make sure that people who have access to this very powerful streaming tool are well vetted and good kind of representatives and stewards of our brand in order to gain access to the tool. That being said, we're doing a lot on our side because we recognize that the powerful tool should be democratized to a lot of people who we know can use it and use it well. So we're taking a lot of steps on our side to continuously review our processes and qualifications for gaining access to Live. If you haven't been able to get access in the past, some things that you could be working on before you reapply is just making sure you have a good followership on your page. It's not a very effective tool if you don't have a strong community going on your page. We look for evidence of video creation in the past. We know that LinkedIn Live is not exactly a simple tool. It's a powerful tool, but it's not simple. And if you haven't had much experience creating video on our platform, it's probably going to be pretty hard for you to do LinkedIn Live. So we look for evidence of consistent video usage on our platform. And then we just look for people who are good users of our platform. It's like I said, it takes a little bit to use LinkedIn Live, and so we want to make sure that you're well set up and prepared to do that. So with that in mind, keep applying. If you don't hear, we're going to start rolling out actual approval and rejection emails. We've had approval emails for a long time, and it's been a labor of love to get the rejection emails out, just so you know that you've still got some things to work on before you might qualify for access. So stay tuned there. A couple other questions before we get back to our panel. Dominique and a ton of other people are asking, are you able to easily export the registration form submissions, and are you able to differentiate registrants versus attendees? So the good news is, yes, you are able to export the registration forms. You then own that data. It's very easy to do. It's just on the event page in the upper right-hand corner. It says download. Are you able to differentiate registrants and attendees? You're not at this point, and I might want to bring Chetan on to just talk through, is there plans to do this? Is there plans to allow the ability to see not only who has hit attend, but those who actually showed up and watched your stream?
Yeah, that's a great question. Yes, it is in the pipeline. So as we think about an even more tighter integration between the live experience and the event creation experience, this is something which is there down in the pipeline.
That's great to hear. It's something that I get asked for all the time. So I'm personally very happy to hear that. Okay, back to our discussion, because I was just loving what I was hearing from Emily and Kelsey and Chetan. The next question I'm really curious to get your take on is, what do you guys do after your event to kind of keep the awareness or the engagement going, the conversation continues? Yeah, perfect.
Yeah, so all of our LinkedIn Live videos we post on our YouTube channel after. And during our event, we get a lot of people saying, will a recording be shared? People aren't are unable to make the time. So we share that link with them. We make sure they have access to the full stream, and we keep them updated about our future events. We'll make a post in that event sharing the details of the one. We have a weekly show at this moment, so we'll give them the details of the next one. And people tend to really appreciate that, and it's a good sign that we're really connecting with that audience.
Yeah, one thing you can do there is use one of my favorite tools, recommend a post, to drive awareness for that next event in the series. I'm sure you're already doing it.
My favorite tool, yeah.
And Emily, what about you?
Yeah, we do kind of a combination of things. I think the immediate thing that we do after we do an event is we definitely do our best to go through all the comments we've received and answer any questions we didn't have the chance to answer live. And if it makes sense, share in those responses to questions, share additional resources or content we might have that could be helpful to the person asking the question. We also, after the larger virtual conference we did through LinkedIn events, we did conversation ads through LinkedIn, which were really wonderful for us and really complemented the conversational feel that we wanted the event to have. So those were great. And then obviously some email follow-up was the other thing that we did after the larger conference.
Makes sense. I love to hear that you're using the conversation ads. I wonder if you will use some event retargeting with those maybe the next.
Yeah, for sure. I'm sure we will.
Okay, another question from me is, what's one or two things you guys have done in promoting your events or just kind of throughout the life cycle on LinkedIn that that your attendees give you really, really strong feedback on? Like they just love it. Anything come to mind for you, Emily?
I think that probably what the sort of reoccurring comment that we see is that people are super appreciative that we're offering these events for free, and they really appreciate the follow-up with additional resources and also just the honesty of our presenters. We definitely want to make it an educational and helpful experience, and if we always encourage our presenters kind of in the prep for these, if they don't know the response to a question, to not fake it, to say that, live, we'll come back to you with a more detailed answer. And I think that candor is really appreciated.
I totally agree. And it's something we always try to drive home with the usage of LinkedIn Live. People get really concerned because it's live and mistakes might be made. And oh no, I might reveal that I'm human. But that's super okay with this platform. And I mean, I even have to remind myself of it, but I love that you mentioned that because it is okay to be really human. And in fact, it's even better in this environment.
For sure.
Kelsey, anything to add to that? Things that your audience love that you do with virtual events?
Yeah, I think it's a bit of the same thing. I think that human element, and I feel like I'm a little bit of a broken record here, but giving our audiences that like sort of direct access to these people who they wouldn't be able to, ask questions to, like Dr. Anthony Fauci, I think they appear to like really appreciate. We get a lot of positive feedback during the event and after the event in our feed comments. So I think it's just giving these people an outlet to be real with our audience. Our audience loves that.
Yeah, I love that. If you are in the audience right now and you have something to share across any of these questions, I would love for you to drop in the comments like your own experience, things that you've done and your audience has loved, or tips and tricks you could share with other members of the community. I'm sure it's not just us who have so much to share in this respect. So please don't be shy. Help your fellow neighbors, your community members out. I want to return to more of the questions that we're getting from the chats. We keep getting them. We're loving this. Thank you so much. Beth asks, can we go live via an event into a group we manage? And kind of in the same vein, Linda asks, can you invite group members to events? The answer to both of these right now is no, but I believe that it's a very important part of our roadmap is to integrate our events product with groups, because people kind of automatically lump them together when they think about them. Chetan, I don't know if you have any more details to share on that. I know it's still part of our like long-term vision. Anything to say there?
To be honest, this is something that has been discussed, but there is no clear point of view at this point in time. So we would need to get back to her. Perfect.
He's exercising Emily's advice to a T. So we'll get back to you guys on that one. But no, it's something we're thinking about. So Elizabeth asks, do I have to invite people through LinkedIn? Do they have to have a LinkedIn account to attend? I believe the answer to the latter is yes. They do need a LinkedIn account to attend. Chetan, do feel free to correct me if I am wrong there.
No, that is correct.
That's correct. And do I have to invite people through LinkedIn? The answer is no. You can invite people through the ways that Chetan took you through, kind of that direct invitation flow. But I think what we find most organizations have more success with is promoting off platform. And Emily or Kelsey, I don't know if you guys want to reiterate any of the ways that you use to kind of like invite people, not through the typical actual invitation flow. That might be helpful. Maybe Kelsey, you can start.
Yeah, sure. So we kind of utilized email newsletters that we already had in place for pretty much every episode of our weekly show. We include a line in our newsletter, and that's huge. We know for a fact that it drives a lot of our attendees. So reaching people from different mediums, I think, has been really successful for us. And we do this article slider on our website where a very smooth pop-up shows when you reach a certain point in an article. We've done that with relevant content for each LinkedIn Live event, and that's brought a significant number of people to them as well.
That's perfect. Yeah, thanks for sharing that again. Emily, do you want to touch on any of the other ways that you guys invite people?
Yeah, I think what we've really loved about LinkedIn events is I know that our sales team has been super appreciative that there is a way to directly invite their connections to a page where they accept an invitation. In addition to LinkedIn events, we've also streamed live from our company page, and there's been more confusion in this idea of like there isn't a real destination for where the event is going to be happening when you're streaming from your company page. It's just like tune in at noon. Whereas with the LinkedIn event page, it's like, okay, I've accepted and I'm in the right place. So our sales team especially has been really excited about the existence of LinkedIn events and the ease of inviting their connections. We also have an employee advocacy tool internally that we use to encourage all of our employees to share the LinkedIn events to their networks. And that's been a really great way for us to gain exposure.
That's so smart. I love it. And I love that you touched on kind of how the difference between going live to your page for a virtual event or going live into the event. We see people doing both these days, and I'll share why. For most people, if you're doing a brand awareness event where your goal is a broad reach, a lot of impressions, it's often best to go live from your page today because at this time, that's the only way that like your content is broadly discoverable on LinkedIn. When you go live into an event today, that content is kind of contained within that event and it's only viewable by the attendees. I want to give a little look into our roadmap though, because we are coming out with sort of updated feature set for public events without registration. So not thinking about using the registration form. In a couple months' time, we hope we'll be able to roll out a feature that allows you to go live into your event, but also notify page followers at the same time and share that playback, that live video content to anyone on LinkedIn. So that's something that we're working hard on and hope to be able to roll out very soon. Chetan, do you want to share a little bit about the roadmap for the registration form? Because I know there's a lot of exciting updates coming there.
Sure. Before we go there, I think Kelsey wanted to jump in to the previous question.
I have a kind of not super random tip related to streaming from your page versus streaming from the event. We've debated doing both of those things, and every time we've had a LinkedIn Live, we've streamed directly to our page just for that chance of reaching the broadest possible audience. However, I discovered a little hack recently. Even though you cannot schedule a LinkedIn Live in advance currently, if you go live a few minutes early and give your participants a sort of waiting room, you're able to get that link before your event starts. So if you navigate back to your LinkedIn event before the technical start time, say it was 3 p.m. And it's 2:58, I could just go add that stream link into the event. So we've been doing that, and it creates a lot less confusion with our audience than we had initially, as Emily touched on earlier. When you're streaming to your page versus in advertising in a LinkedIn event, it might get a little bit confusing. But for us, this has been like kind of a hack to take people to the right place before we're able to stream in both places. We're definitely going to utilize that feature, though.
I love that. That's a great hack. We'll need to try it. Thanks for sharing.
Yeah, great hack, and something we hope to solve just like with an in-product experience in the next couple months when we roll out these updates to the public event without registration. But kind of returning to this idea of what the public event with registration, Chetan, what's coming down the pipe for that?
Sure. Yeah, so we have had a bunch of large feature requests out there. So first one is the ability to add more fields to your registration form. So right now it's just name and email, but the ability to extend that list when the information is being gathered at the time of registration. So that's one. Two is it's about getting those fields or those leads connected to marketing automation and CRM systems. So that's something certainly we are thinking about very seriously. And then the third one is about support for multiple languages and, for example, some of the GDPR requirements. So yeah, those are some of the things that are certainly in the pipeline and coming out soon.
That's awesome. Yeah, I get asked about this just about every day. So it's so good to be able to know that it's coming and to be able to let you guys know. So I'm going to go ahead and wrap us up. I know we're right about time. We so appreciate everyone who's stayed on with us to keep learning. I hope that means that you're getting some value out of this. Thank you so much, panel. You guys have been awesome.
Thank you so much for having us. This has been great, Kylie.
I'm glad.
Yeah, thank you so much for having us. This has been really interesting for me as well. So appreciate it.
Hopefully, it's fun to be on the other side of the experience. Thank you to the viewers. You guys have been awesome. We've got there's more questions than I've probably ever seen. And like I said, we will do everything we can to try to make sure that they are all answered in some way, shape, or form. We're going to be sharing a lot of helpful content that we've created around the launch of these 4 new exciting features to the event feed. So definitely keep your eyes on that. I did want to say to all the page admins in our audience, we have this awesome page admin group where it's like 1,000 admins at this point who give and get help. We ramp some of our early product experiences to that group to get feedback. So if you are a LinkedIn junkie and you want to be in the know, this is the group to join. We'd love to have you. And just to reiterate, you can watch the replay of the show at any time on the event page, and we'll try to get a shareable link out very shortly so that you can share it with your colleagues and your connections. There's a lot more to come with LinkedIn events, so we really hope you join us for our next big show. Until then, stay connected.